The April wind howled through the gaps in the timber of the Jackson jailhouse. Inside, Henderson Kilburn stared at the heavy oak door. His knuckles were white against the iron bars. Beside him, Ben Strong sat in the dark. He listened to the quiet. The men were being jailed for the ambush murder of a man named William Taylor Thorpe. It was too quiet for a town gripped by blood feuds. Suddenly, the silence shattered. Heavy boots pounded the mud outside, accompanied by the low, angry murmur of 100 men. Torches flared through the high windows, casting long, dancing shadows across the stone floor as faces shone, their eyes cold with the law of the hills. "They ain't waiting for a judge, Ann," Ben whispered. His voice was steady, but his shadow trembled. A heavy axe swung into the outer door. The wood splintered with a sound like a rifle shot. Another strike followed, then another. The jailer had long since fled into the night, leaving his keys behind. The mob didn't need them. They had iron wood and a furious, unyielding purpose. The heavy doors groaned under the final strike of a sledgehammer. The iron gave way as the room flooded with the smell of kerosene, cheap whiskey, and sweat. A dozen pairs of rough hands seized Henderson and Ben, a force that felt less like men and more like the unyielding weight of the mountain itself, dragging them from the dark cell into the flickering torchlight of the main hall. The mob hauled the two men up the grand sweeping staircase of the Breathitt County Courthouse. Their destination, the second floor wooden banister overlooking the wide open rotunda below. "This is for William Thorpe," a voice boomed from the shadows. Two thick hemp ropes, already knotted into nooses, were thrown over the heavy pine railing. The mob lifted the men onto the ledge. Below them, the stone floor of the courthouse looked vast and cold. "Any last words?" a man asked, tightening the rough hemp around Henderson's neck. Henderson looked over the sea of masked faces. He knew half of them. They were his neighbors, his cousins, men he had farmed beside. "You ain't fixin' nothin' with this," he rasped, his voice cutting through the damp air. "This blood just breeds more blood." Ben remained silent. He closed his eyes and turned his face toward the high ceiling, whispering a final, private prayer. With a sudden, coordinated push, the ledge was cleared. The heavy rope snapped taut against the courthouse banister with a sharp, sickening crack that echoed through the whole building. For a long minute, the only sound inside the halls of justice was the creaking of wood under the sudden weight. The torches were lowered. The men turned on their heels, vanishing silently back into the April night. The events of that April night became a somber chapter in the history of Breathitt County, a place that would soon earn the moniker Bloody Breathitt, due to the frequency of such deep-seated feuds. By the time the sun began to rise over the valley, the town was eerily still. The angry voices had vanished back into the hills, leaving the grand brick courthouse as a silent witness to a justice system that had momentarily abandoned. The wind continued to whistle through the open doors, a cold reminder of the tensions that remained unresolved beneath the surface of the community.